today on the podcast, I'm just thrilled to have Jessica Symes Toomey on the podcast. Jessica is going to tell us more about yourself, but you do a lot of work in the leadership space. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jess, or Jessica Symes Toomey. I'm primarily an executive coach. I also deliver and design leadership development, or what might be known as soft skills learning and development. I've been doing that for around 15 years. I'm very specific about that date, as I started the business when my son was born, my first son. And it turns out he's become very interested in human behavior and what I do in my work. And while he very much has his own goals, he may support a little bit of what I might do down the track, which is great. So yes, so my business is Symes Group, and we have been in operation for 15 years or over a decade. And love what I do. I'm very fortunate to work with my fantastic clients, and loving supporting people development.
Fantastic. And I understand that you had before that an arts background. Can you tell me how, having sort of done training as a director at NIDA, has assisted you in this space of executive coaching? Because I imagine it's quite profound.
What a great question. I think enormously it has helped. I think there aren't too many people that probably know what it's like to really work with an actor, and probably have a different idea of it. And I describe that because the parallel in working with a coaching client is quite similar, really. Working with an actor, you meet them where they're at, you endow them as the expert in their character, and you definitely don't have a vision as the director of what you think it should look and sound like. You talk about more metaphorical aspects, very much how the character is feeling. So it's kind of like setting the environment in the conversation between you and the actor so that they can be the best that they can be and they can discover what they need to discover. So it's quite similar. I don't think, Kate, when I first embarked on my journey in the masters that I did at Sydney University, that I quite knew how similar the processes were. But I think it's definitely helped me be the unique coach that I am. Everyone is a unique coach. Everyone does it in a slightly different way, of course, and has their niche. But I think maybe that's my niche.
Yeah. I think that, there's just so many transferable skills, because I'm also thinking about, when you think about actors and directing, you've got a script, you've got a framework as to what we're trying to achieve here.
Yes.
But then as a director, you've also got a vision. This is my vision for this script.
Yeah.
And leaders, the best leaders, have a framework. They know what they're trying to achieve, and they've got a vision, and they know what they're trying, and so then when they're more powerful as leaders, if they are clear about their vision and the roadmap about how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I think we always underestimate the power of the arts and how it reflects back so much of what we do in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think more and more moving forward, that notion of creative leadership is going to become more and more necessary, or something that corporate will draw upon because of the wonderful rise of AI, etc. So I think that we will see more influence from the creative arts who know how to collaborate, creative teams intuitively, and in a way in which they are very practiced and skilled, know how to lean into someone saying, actually, I see that differently. And a creative member of a team says, really? Tell me more about that, rather than feeling that it's an affront or aggressive or doubting. So the arts have a lot to teach the corporate world, or a lot to offer.
Oh, I think that's so true. And when you think about acting as a director, you give notes.
Yeah.
So that is your role, is to give notes. And at the end of every rehearsal, you give notes. Every performance, you give notes. There is just this constant feedback loop, which I think is missing quite often in the corporate world.
Okay, I'm getting quite nostalgic. when I left the theatre as such, I never thought I'd return. But you know what? I turned 46 the other day, and I'm thinking maybe I might dabble in a little bit. But yes, that notion of that feedback loop, and everybody, all the performers and the creatives, so the lighting people, the sound people, they sit there with their notepad, not defensively, ready for an ambush or performance management, eager. Tell me
Yeah.
what you saw. Tell me.
Yeah.
They're eager and enthusiastically write those notes down and can't wait to try them out, implement them.
Yeah. It's brilliant training. It is absolutely brilliant training to be able to receive that feedback. And I think because we are not very good at it, very good in that space in the corporate world, it then becomes incredibly scary. And feedback is some organizations do it better than others. But at the end of the day, whether it's been in elite sports or it's in the arts, if you want to get better, you've got to have people who are going to help you see things you can't see yourself.
Yes, I see. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just think I think that's I think that's really powerful that you've got that background, because I think there is, and as a director, you can't direct unless you've got the vision. Like, it just, what are you trying to achieve? You've got to be really clear about purpose and vision and all of those things. So
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful space.
Yeah.
Now, when we spoke before, you shared with me that you're an optimist,
Mm.
which fills my heart with glee. I love optimism. It provides hope and a sense of play, and there's a
Yes.
whole lot of good things that come out of it. Can you talk more about the power of optimism?
Yeah, definitely. One of my big focuses, and has been for the last couple of years, Kate, is very much around career. So supporting clients to be able to have career conversations with their direct reports, or focusing on career as well as leadership capabilities. So holding equal weight for those concepts. And supporting individuals and organizations to help their people get in the driver's seat of their own career and meet their organization halfway. So the organization comes halfway, they come halfway as well. And I think with that, it requires a sense of optimism and hope. It requires the ability to focus on your own strengths rather than your deficits, and also focus on the strengths of others, strength spotting, but also what resources you have. So for example, instead of feeling like, oh, I'm not very academic, or I don't have a degree, or this and that, all of these sort of things that I hear from clients, which is very valid, and I validate that. But let's focus on what you do have.
Yeah.
And it's empowering, and it helps the individual be the best that they can be, so that they can show up with a sense of purpose, but also with a sense of contribution, rather than a sense of what I'm not getting, or I'm not getting this opportunity, or I'm not being allowed this opportunity. And so instead of feeling stuck, let's go get it. Go get what you want, and focus on the resources that you do have around you. While it sounds very obvious, as I imagine you well know, sometimes the corporate space is one that doesn't identify strengths, or focus on perhaps what individuals are doing really, really well enough. And so it might feel foreign to think in that way.
Yeah. I think it goes back a little bit to our feedback loop,
Right.
which is, well, I just think we in the corporate world, there's this competition, sort of, we're wanting to move up the ladder, we're competing
Sure.
against each other. And so there's something around, we're not focusing on our strengths. We often spend a lot of time focusing on the problem,
Right. Yeah.
rather than what worked well.
Yes.
That's what I hear teams do. And particularly when teams get really, really stressed because they're overworked, or somebody complained or whatever,
Right.
we're looking for a scapegoat, or we're looking like it because I think, to me, work is incredibly personal. Like, it is where we go to play and to show off our skills.
Yeah, right. I love that.
Yeah. And so if we're showing off our skills, and we might feel like we're in competition with somebody because we don't have clear roles and responsibilities, or whatever's going on, then if something goes wrong, it's sort of like, ooh, we're sort of vying for, oh, but I did it okay and you didn't. And I think when we play to strengths and we recognize that we're not good at everything, it's a different mindset. It's where we're not actually looking at the problem.
That's
We're
right.
looking at that as an opportunity, because if we put an optimist mindset to that, it's like, of course things go wrong. Things are going to go wrong all the time. But what do they teach us? That's the gold. Like, what did we learn? And so I think that we haven't been. I think we've become, the world has got, very corporate, and at times the commercial reality is like, we've got to make money, and money becomes the focus rather than, what could we develop and learn. But
Yes.
yes, I think there is, playing to strengths is really, really valuable. One of the things I think that's interesting in that space, and I'd be keen to discuss with you, is I've had chair of boards and all of that, and we talk about strengths, and then they're saying, but shouldn't we work on our weaknesses? Shouldn't we sort of try and fix? And I'm intrigued by that, because I think that that's a lot of energy trying to fix something that you could possibly delegate out to somebody else. What
Yeah,
are your thoughts
absolutely.
on that?
Yeah, so it's a space I really love talking about. So thank you for asking me. So my stance here is that I believe that there's a right role in the right organization for everyone. And what we should try and do is, first and foremost, acknowledge that perhaps the school system doesn't do us any favors, in that perhaps maybe it's evolving now, but definitely in the past, maybe it teaches us to just be good at everything and hide what you're not good at, right? Whereas what I feel creates environments in which people can flourish and thrive and sets them up for success is to acknowledge that to have a superpower or to be really great at something, you're going to be really rubbish at something else. And that's okay. That's why we need diversity in teams. And when I too work with a lot of teams, and when I find they're really humming is when they can have laughs about, I love the details, and I'm all about it, and I'm always on your back about the details. But now I really see that your lack of detail, actually, that we need that in the team, because your big picture, you see the forest for the trees, you come up with the great big ideas, all of that sort of thing. So I think that the career evolution of any individual is working out what you're great at, and how you do that is not just what you enjoy, but what's effortless versus effortful. And I know that none of us have the opportunity to have a role that plays to our strengths all the time. There's going to be things that are effortful, but then draw upon other strengths that you have to be able to fulfill that part of your role that requires a bit more effort. So an example of that might be, I personally am quite rubbish at details, but I have run a successful business for 15 years. So I've had to tap in to my sense of high will and determination to focus, sit down with the books, and do that. So I've found another strength and just angled that to be able to focus to do that task that perhaps is a little harder and effortful than getting in front of people and talking about them, which is effortless for me. So I think that it's empowering when people realize, wow, they're really, and I think that there will be even more when we have all these wonderful jobs that are going to be created as a result of AI, the more creative jobs. There really will be a role and a job for everyone's quirky little strengths.
Yeah. And I think that's so true. There is room for all of us. I know that there's a lot of fear at the moment AI will take jobs, but it will also create jobs. Like,
Yeah.
the world is just changing again.
Yeah. Look, it's here. It's
we can't stop it. We can't stop it. But it's a bit like, we all thought CDs was going to be the best thing that ever happened to us. And how many of us have a lot of CDs that we never listened to?
Yes, very true. Very
The
true.
world didn't end because CDs stopped, or because of vinyl. Like, we are in such an extraordinary era of development and growth. And I think, when you think back to workplaces, even 10 years ago, the things that we tolerated and thought were normal then, we wouldn't do now.
Yeah.
We've developed a long way in the last 10 years. And I loved your comment about diversity, because my understanding is the research shows that the greater diversity you have in workplaces, the better you'll be as an organisation. Do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, sure. So again, I draw on my history in the arts. It is that for creativity and innovation to occur, you need diversity of thought. And that comes in many different ways. It may come in diversity of gender, diversity of culture, many, many different diversities of personality, perspectives, socioeconomic background, all of these wonderful things, that melting pot. And I think that it is slowly, maybe a little bit clunkily, really being embraced.
Yeah.
But it's what I call a no-brainer. The more perspectives, the more innovative the output is going to be. And as we move past and through what I call the imagination era, so the rise of AI is going to allow us to really create in the workplace more than we ever have, because we have the robots to do A equals B now.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be so much room and space for reflection, for creation, and for time and space. And that's why perhaps there's some experimentation going on at the moment with experimenting with 4-day weeks, or that hybrid work anywhere, anytime model that a lot of global organizations have been doing for quite some time now, because time is not the currency of a $1 billion creative idea.
No.
It is diversity of thought. So, for example, a creative team, when you ask them, who was it who actually came up with the final part of that brilliant idea, or who said it first, or what have you, none of them would be able to tell you. And that's the same in a creative world, but also in the world of teams that are really humming. I asked someone the other day, I overheard one of the teams I was working with name a new brand as part of their offering. And the name was just so great to me. I thought, wow, what a fantastic idea, what a great name. I said, just of interest, who was it that said it? Because I knew the team really well. And he stood there and he went, I really don't know. And I said, right answer. He didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's really essential, and it's the more the merrier, the more perspectives. And it comes back to that leaning into, wow, okay, you see it a different way. Tell me more about that. Appreciative inquiry, curiosity, open, more, rather than scarcity.
I love an abundance mindset. I'm always saying not that I eat it, but they put fast food stores next to each other because
yes.
because people are
that's right.
because they get more business. Like,
correct. Yeah.
It makes sense to be generous and to this. I do find it really interesting around IP and those things, which I'm a bowerbird, and I think that in the coaching space we might develop tools or whatever, but at the end of the day, most of us, we are pulling together. We hear things and then we meld it, we turn it. But the more we share, the better the world is.
Of course. Yeah. I think I'm laughing because, I think you and I might think similarly. Unfortunately, maybe because of my creative arts background, there are no original ideas. There's only like 5 stories in the world, and, all of this sort of thing. And I think we're all influenced by different things. And while I appreciate the art and the science of great learning design, et cetera, and it's probably controversial that I say this, but I just think perhaps IP sometimes is maybe a little bit more loaded than it needs to be. We're all pretty much doing the same thing. If you're good at what you do, it probably looks the same as what someone else is doing, because you've done your research, it's evidence-based, you're up to date with what's best practice. Yeah, I don't know. Yes.
No, I'm with you. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm putting out, if I put out ideas to the world and somebody likes it and they run with it and they do something with it, fantastic. No.
And also, we're doing it because we love helping people, right?
Of course.
The more the merrier, I say.
Yeah. That's, to me, the more the merrier. My passion in life is to, particularly in this space, is how do we create workplaces where people love coming to work?
Oh, beautiful.
And if because work is really important to people, it is where we get to play. It's a really important part of our worlds. And if I can share a message and it lands well, that's really good. But somebody else might take some of my message or all of my message and share it with their group of people, and it
Yes.
might land a whole lot better. And
Right.
that's
Yeah, sure.
fantastic. Let's just create a more enjoyable world where people love going to work, because it's such an important part of our worlds and our well-being
Yes.
and that. So I think that that's really important. You do work around resilience,
Mm.
and that's a subject that I am really interested in. And I'd love to know more about sort of what is the work and how we build resilience in the workplace.
Yeah. So, I mean, so many schools of thought. I guess where I'm at present, and what might be helpful for
Mm,
people, is that there is some what I feel quite valid research to say that perhaps at least part of resilience is trait based. So there might be more resilient people out there than others, perhaps, but we do know that it is developable. So, for example, perhaps the more resilient people we might identify as say Olympians or sports people. So I'm like you mentioned earlier on, I'm quite fascinated with people who do extraordinary things as a way to study resilience and then maybe bring it into the corporate world. So there's an amazing lady called Diana Nyad who is now, I think she's probably a bit older, at 65. She's an American. At 65 years of age, she, on her 5th attempt, swam from Cuba to Florida without getting out of the water at 65. And since then, no man or woman, no younger man has been able to achieve what she achieved. And I've been fortunate enough to interview her. I'm a bit of a fan, but I would say that someone like that is just born resilient.
yeah.
They're just like that. But resilience is developable. And, I've dabbled in supporting clients with a tool called the MTQ48 as a way to look at where you're at and to build strategies to be able to find more resilience in yourself. But I think that many positive psychology constructs, whether they be a gratitude practice or a mindfulness practice, can support the development of ourselves being able to bounce back and perhaps cope more in the moment, to self-regulate, to have choice in how we respond under pressure. And I think that it really comes down to the hard truths about wellness. Are we taking responsibility and having an active practice around all those things that might sound a little trite and boring? Getting enough sleep, not drinking too much alcohol, eating vegetables, all of these things, and not at all to sprout being a fan of corporate athleticism. It's not about that. It's just about the self-care and the nurturing of oneself. To be able to take care of yourself is very empowering, and to feel confident that that whatever happens at work today, I'll be able to work through it.
Yeah.
And that's when I work with coaching clients to help them with their resilience. It's not just empowering, it's also quite a relief and a release to be able to realize, it is a hard truth sometimes, that it's up to us to really put focus on it. Does that resonate? Or
Absolutely. No one can do it for you.
yeah.
But I love that self-care component. It's almost impossible to build resilience if the cup is empty.
Yeah.
And it is a bit boring. Get some sleep. Like it's something we all know.
Yeah.
And yet somehow when we're very stressed, what I see is that those self-care components are the first things to go. We
Yes.
prioritize the task or somebody else's needs before
Yes.
our own. And then we diminish our capacity to actually meet the other person's needs or to do the task because we're doing it. And then our resilience, the feedback loop is we're not meeting needs and we're not performing very well. And then we feel worse and worse and worse about ourselves. And then we make more and more mistakes. And so it sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's almost like you have to be selfish in order to be
Oh,
generous.
yes. I love that.
You
Yeah.
can't do one without the other.
Yeah. Putting on your own oxygen mask
Yeah,
first, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you're so right. I think some people just, that they are more resilient, but we can build that muscle.
Yeah,
And we see
absolutely.
it in kids. We at school they learn things and they become more resilient. And it's extraordinary just watching younger generations and their capacity to do public speaking and to
Yeah.
put themselves out
Yeah.
there, because I think they do it in a way that in my generation just didn't happen.
Yes.
And so they have that resilience in that space. It's almost like we think of resilience as one thing, and I think it's lots of different ways in which that shows up,
Yes.
whether it's an emotional thing or a workplace thing or how we hold ourselves in the family. I think it's such an interesting conversation, but I think that right now in history, looking at some of the workplaces that I work with, and no doubt the teams that you work with, because we know more, we're reacting a lot more, and there's a lot more reaction to I don't feel comfortable or I'm failing. There just seems to be we just seem to be needing to work out how to be more resilient, and I think that playing to strengths and positive psychology and all of those tools and mindfulness and gratitude really go a long way. And I don't know why it's moved. Well, I think it is. I think as we talk more about mental health, we've exposed those things, and now we don't know quite how to sit
Mm,
in that space some of the time.
yeah, it's a very interesting topic and one that's, I guess, very complex. But I think what I know to be true is that if you can gently find an entry point for someone to meet them where they're at, to see where they feel comfortable making some adjustments,
Yeah,
that when they start to be able to record or identify changes that feel like shifts towards less combativeness in
yeah,
the everyday workplace, a little more ease, a little bit more positive relationships. And if
yeah,
they can connect the dots, and we be very gentle, if we can connect the dots with that's perhaps because of what you're doing
yeah,
and what you're doing,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that that is what we need more of. But I think that, yeah, it comes back to that self-responsibility piece, which is very delicate when there are lots of different challenges. But yeah, very interesting.
No, I think it is very interesting, and I think the self-responsibility piece is very interesting
Mm,
in workplaces, because often there is this sense of the leader must fix the problem, and it's somebody else's responsibility. And
yeah,
I think the more we can get the team also taking ownership for, we are all responsible for the
yes,
culture of this team.
yes,
We all play a part, and that's where I think that diversity and that feedback loop and like all of these things, if you meld them together,
mm,
it's going to build resilience. I mean, it's much easier to be resilient in a space where we can have diversity of thought and disagree agreeably and learn from and be curious. That's a much safer, more comfortable space to
yeah,
fail in, and therefore we can. It's easier to pick yourself up and go,
yes,
that didn't land well. Okay, but what did I learn? And on we go.
yes,
But
that's right.
when we're all sort of hypercritical and on eggshells, then that's not so safe.
And I think that comes out of confidence, Kate.
Mm,
So
mm,
the teams that I see that are really on fire and really working,
mm.
and I'm fortunate enough to work with some very senior teams and their boards, is that when there is not a scarcity mindset, it's an abundance mindset,
Yeah,
and everyone feels really secure for their roles, within their roles, and that they can just be free to do that. But it starts with them being individually confident, and
yeah,
so that's where coaching can play a really
yeah.
great part before we even meet
Absolutely.
with the team. You
I think that is so true, and I think we're probably very much aligned on that. With when you're working with the team, it's very important that the leader is aware of the role they play within that team,
yeah,
and to help them build their confidence. Because most leaders end up being leaders because they're really good at something else.
sure,
Like
yeah,
it's and
yeah,
so they've got to learn that skill set. They've got to learn how to be you know, emotional intelligence. They've got to learn those things. So that's why, in my world, in conflict, The conflict might look like it's between two members of staff, and the leader thinks that they're not part of the problem.
Yeah, right.
But they are always part of the problem.
Yeah.
They don't mean to be. It's
Sure.
unintentional. But the more the leader can own, oh, how did I unintentionally contribute to this, and develop their own leadership skills as a result of that
Yes.
conflict, the easier it is to resolve that conflict. But if the conflict is always just out there in front of them and not them,
Yes.
and they don't take ownership, you won't resolve the conflict, and you'll lose one or both of those people
Yes.
every time.
Yes. Yes. I think I have seen what you're talking about. So true. So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh,
This has
thank
been a
you,
wonderful
Kate.
conversation,
Oh,
Jess.
I could just talk to you for hours and hours.
I love talking about this stuff.
Yes.
I think leadership is so important because it goes to not just their own well-being, but the well-being of the team. And I love the arts. Like, I can't tell you how much I love the arts. And so to talk to somebody who's both a director and who works in this leadership coaching space is such a delight for me because we can learn so much. I think there is so much to be learnt from the arts, and I don't think we often really appreciate how valuable what they bring to us, which is why I get so sad when they keep closing down sort of parts of universities around the arts. It's sort of like, no, humanities is a really important conversation. Those topics are critical. We can't lose them. AI and science and STEM, very important. Great. Tick.
Yes.
Arts, equally important. We
Yeah.
are people first.
I agree.
Always.
I agree. And
Anyway,
yeah,
that's my
so delightful to chat to you, Kate.
fantastic to talk to you. This has been wonderful,
Oh,
Jess.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.